Welcome back to Daytime Ottawa. Before I introduce or reintroduce, depending on whether you're familiar with our next guest, Matty McKechnie, better known as Graven to his fans. We're going to sit down and talk about an event he has coming up, his next performance. But first, we're going to listen in on one of his great songs, Simple Complex. Have a listen.
Down in this basement, my soul is a casement. Got a sidelight beside the transom of me. I might be belated, but I'm never truncated. The songs are a portico into my glee. If you could design all the love in the world tonight, the angles just don't seem right. If you could close your eyes and let all the formulas die, you'd see that the simplest complex beats inside you.
The song is Simple Complex, and it's the title of his latest album. I'm joined by Graven himself. Welcome to the show, Matty. Great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
I don't know if I asked you that. Where did Graven come from, sort of that name for you?
Well, I was at University of Guelph, and I was thinking about that word, and it's sort of like gravity and heaven if you cut the two words in half. So, I don't know, as humans, you're kind of always stuck in this world with gravity, but maybe thinking of another one or something like that.
Yeah, I like it. For those that aren't familiar with your story, you have a great story. You decided to follow music as a career. Tell us about that journey.
Yeah, well, I'd worked a lot of different jobs for a long time that I just felt, I was sort of skilled at, like somewhat, but my best talents weren't really being used. So. Right. Even though I was sure there would be uncertainties and everything else, like any job, I thought, well, I'm just going to take the jump. And I actually did that during COVID when I was doing a bunch of, we're still in COVID, but during the early lockdowns, doing lots of online shows, and then things started opening up, and I was doing outdoor yard shows, and I was like, I guess I could do this full time. I don't know. We'll try it out and see what happens.
And this community kind of built itself around that. Tell me how that came about, and why you think it was so successful.
I'm not sure. I think that during the early lockdowns, I just devoted an hour each week to play online, and I was pretty vigilant about it. And I said, I'm just going to do this every week. And if people come or they don't, at least I'll still be practicing my songs, working at it, because at that time, none of us knew when we'd be playing live again. So then a little community just formed, and I would really talk to people and see their comments, and that extended outward to other shows. And I was just, I guess, lucky in a few ways. People just sort of found their way to me, and Graven Town was like the name that came out of it. It just sort of stuck.
Yeah, no, it's very cool. You're performing tomorrow night at Redbird Live, a great local venue.
Yeah.
With the new band, and you call it the new band because I guess every time you perform it really is a new band. Is that right?
Yeah. So, well, it's changed a lot over the years, and so I had different band names for a while. Was one called the Dirty Hustle, and I got another couple different names, but then I thought new band is good because if members change or come and go, it'll just always be that, because it's new. So
what can people expect at a Graven live performance?
A little bit of sad dad rock and roll, a little bit of folk rock, a little bit of old country maybe, but just generally, hopefully, a good time. Like, try to be inviting and welcoming with everyone, and
you like to interact with the audience quite a bit too.
Yeah, I like to tell some jokes. Actually, that was the fun thing about performing again, was that when you're performing online, you don't get to see if your jokes bombed or
Right.
not. So it's fun. It was fun to bomb again because
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, okay, this is good. I like it when jokes don't work.
Alexandra Sullivan's going to be performing
Yeah.
with you as well. Tell us a little bit about Alexandra.
Alexandra's great. She's a good buddy, and she's from around the Ottawa area. She moved to Toronto, but she was in PEI for a while too.
Oh,
and
nice.
We performed out there together at Trailside, and yeah, just really emotional, passionate songwriter, and a lot of piano, guitar. She's great.
I mentioned Simple Complex is your latest album, but you're going to be working on a new album. Tell me about
Yeah.
that. What's happening over the winter with you?
Well, in the winter, hopefully with the band, I don't have many gigs planned because I don't like traveling in the winter very much.
Okay.
I don't like being on icy roads. Call me crazy, but I
You're
just
crazy.
I know,
I
right?
had to say it. Sorry.
So we're gonna just go into probably a couple different studio spaces and rehearse and work on some new stuff, and then hopefully in the spring or summer or fall or something, I'll have something new to put out.
And probably continues your backyard shows.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, tell me how those have been. That experience been like? That must be a lot of fun.
That's been a lot of fun. I mean, I saw a lot of shows performed in different spaces, and then eventually I was like, well, I could try putting one on in my parents' backyard. Why not? And it's kind of a nice space. It's very compact but intimate, and I think people like coming to shows when they see something that's a little different, you know?
Right.
They see some lights outdoors, you know, if you're lucky enough to get good weather, and yeah, it's fun. It's a little different look than sometimes going to a venue that's really, really dark and smells like old beer, right?
Right.
So,
yeah. And let me tell you, by the way, Redbird Live does not
Doesn't
smell like
smell like
old
that at
beer,
all.
but it is an intimate
It's a
venue. It is,
beautiful
yeah,
place,
it's
yeah.
an absolutely beautiful place. If you've never had a chance to go, really recommend you go and see this guy, Graven. That is tomorrow night at Redbird Live. You can catch him. And again, Alexandra Sullivan will be playing as well. We'll be back with more Daytime right after this.